Hi, Taurus, and welcome to your January 2022 General Tarot Forecast. I'm so happy to be coming on and talking to you about the month of January 2022 for your sign. Happy New Year, happy calendar New Year to those of you celebrating that right now. The astrological New Year will be coming during Aries season, during March. But nonetheless, we have a calendar New Year to get through right here, and I think that you are gearing up, okay? We have the North Node moving into your sign on January the 18th. I will be talking to you about that in this video. We have Uranus making incredible headway in your sign, and it's probably one of the most activating years for you with the nodes moving into your sign. So what does it mean to be a Taurus with a North Node moving into Taurus, South Node moving into Scorpio? It means that you have a lot of energy kind of coalescing beneath you. The South Node being in Scorpio opposing you. If you have any past with Scorpio people, if you have any Scorpio energy in your own chart, it probably means that you are going to maybe be reminded of that, or things might take a very scorpionic tone. You might have a lot of, experiences of power conflict with other people, and it's going to ultimately ask a lot of questions. You're probably going to be asking a lot of questions in January about purpose and about what you really want to do. So the main thing I'm feeling for Taurus is that everything's going to be in front of you. Okay, so your purpose, your dreams, your capability is going to be put right in front of you. So whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on you're driving down the road and you're seeing people doing exactly what you need to do out of your windshield. You're gonna see your purpose during this time. So it's definitely good in January to be keeping an eye out for it, to be keeping an eye out for your purpose, to be making time to see it, to not be keeping your head down. Okay, so what are, really prevalent ways that we can keep our head down in 2022? So being on any kind of substance, looking at your smartphone all day, every day, scrolling through Facebook or YouTube all day, every day. Now, it is nonetheless likely that you still get exposed, or you still see your purpose, or this sort of North Node in Taurus injection of energy. But I think it's going to be important that you kind of open up your chest, that you kind of open yourself up, and try to not look down when you walk. Try to not look down. Try to not be reaffirming downward energetic movements within your body language, within your choices, within the people that you're keeping around, and try to really see things from this perspective if you can. What things am I doing in my life that are essentially a process of looking down, or a process of closing myself off from my purpose? Because by January 18th, it's going to start getting very frustrating to be a Taurus person who doesn't actually look out for their best interests, who constantly aims downward, who constantly doesn't acknowledge their own capability, or doesn't acknowledge their own life force energy. That's going to start getting pretty ugly later this year. So it's really beautiful when the universe puts us into these situations, because then we have these really big opportunities, and we have these really open doors to purpose. Okay. So I feel quite a few different Taurus people in different places with this. It's likely that you might have a lot of different dreams, that you might kind of wonder, okay, how can I do all of this at once? Is it possible to even do all of these things? I'm seeing for some Taurus people that you might have multiple 10 or 15 year goals that seem to not really intersect with each other. And that can be frustrating. It's what do I actually commit to, and what do I sacrifice? There's a big question of sacrifice. That's a big word for you this year. South Node in Scorpio is about powerful sacrifice. And that's not always a positive thing, because people can get really neurotic about what they feel that they need to sacrifice in order to get something else. But I would say that there could be things coming up in your life that are evocative of this dialogue. What do I need to let go of in order to actually facilitate my dreams? What is standing in the way? It's kind of very ambitious energy as well, with Uranus and the North Node in Taurus. And it says that it's a type of ambition that has not been fulfilled before. So there might not be a North Node, Uranus conjunct in Taurus for Dummies guidebook, kind of guiding you through, telling you exactly how to do all this stuff. It's kind of innovative, unconventional territory, which is hard for Taurus. Taurus is a sign that deals with the conventional. It deals with guarantees. It deals with warranties. It deals with, kind of having an expectation, kind of knowing how things work. And the Uranus energy comes in and just scrambles all of that. So any tried, true, conventional method of walking through life, doing stuff in the tried and true way is not going to really work out, but it feels that you're going to try to model this experience on that anyway. So you might be trying to like structure a company. You might be trying to like apply for a job. You might be trying to, trust your previous instincts as a kind of constant within a ever-changing world. And I feel like that is not the way. Okay, I think that you just need to find things that you love, and you also need to majorly release any built up energetic gunk. Okay, so if you're still feeling like, ooh, I've got to prove myself to that person, oh, I've still got to, prove that I can be that status quo conventional person. I've been talking around this a lot for Taurus over the last few months about that kind of status quo conventional thing, still being shot for after 2020. It's crazy. It's not going to work either. So we have this kind of bifurcation, right, societally, where it's like if you were there before 2020, you can probably still have it. Like if you weren't there before 2020, you probably need to try to just kind of go for what you actually enjoy at this period of time, instead of just having things be so like, fictitious on a piece of paper. Okay, so try to really keep an eye out for fictitious experiences. Like, is this really a representation of you? Is this involvement, or is this goal, or is this ambition or aspiration fictitious in nature, or is it truly you? You're going to really get those answers at this time, especially if you've had confusion. So there's a lot of confusion coming out of 2021 about the fictitious nature of an experience and about the real material truth of what we're doing. We kind of live in a society that values certain brands or fictions or creative exterior creations. So that kind of means that we can get really lost, especially as creators or entrepreneurs or individuals who are professional. Sometimes we get lost in these fictitious creations, and that's going to expand in 2022. Jupiter, Neptune, and Pisces is going to probably make like businesses and entities and industries even more fictitious and even more having of a life of their own. So if you are a Taurus who is at this point in time like scheduling a lot of meetings or preparing to like structure a business or something, I would just really ask yourself, like, am I okay with this being its own like autonomous unit? Am I okay with this like not being something that's actually really controlled by me? And where do I land in that? I don't want to be a casualty of some type of like movement. As a Taurus person is a good place to start, as I'm just kind of like looking at all these cards in your reading, having the Sun, having the World, having the Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands, Page of Wands. You are totally coming out of these shackles, or coming out of a previous bondage to perhaps a fictitious experience. I know this is kind of lofty. I know this is kind of arbitrary. I'm very excited for the North Node to get in Taurus. I think it's going to have a much more material impact on my readings, because during this entire time that North Node has been in Gemini, South Node in Sag, it's really made things broad. And I know that many of you loved that. But you should think of that yourself as well. How can I simplify this stuff? How can I make a more simple output? How can I also like not be so unforgiving or so investing in grudges as well? Like, you want to really watch out for that, because you're needing to be light as a Taurus. So like Taurus becoming a much lighter energy throughout this nodal experience, and so much more open to truth, and so much more open to overcoming a previous complex of grudges, a previous complex of debts, a previous complex of apartment buildings. Who knows? Like there are many complexes for a Taurus, and they are being overcome one by one this year. So the best thing that I think a Taurus can do in January is to really start to get out of these complexes, and to really start to get out of these like previous, like pre-2020 assertions of like, I know who that person was, I know what I'm meant to do all my life, I know what my contract is. because all the contracts really got destroyed past 2020, and it's very possible to become like a casualty of some type of greater macrocosmic movement by contributing or holding up these pre-2020 conditions that we set for ourselves. It's easy to really lose to that. We have to be able to evolve now, and we have to be able to forgive, and we have to be able to also forgive our own previous debts to ourselves, contracts to ourselves, so that we can be light enough to actually do what matters. So I feel like I'm on like a rampage here. I feel like I'm kind of, really speaking on some stuff that could be vital. Okay. I really think so, because by the end of January, you're going to have a little bit of a test. Okay. You see that fourth week, the 8 of Swords rooted down by 9 of Swords. That is very, to me, indicative of where Taurus was throughout a lot of 2021, like feeling trapped maybe in a business, trapped in a income, trapped in also not knowing if you've perhaps made the right choices. And in the first 3 weeks of January, you want to like affirm that it's good for you or not good for you, and then, move. So make movements now if they're needed, make the adjustments now if they're needed, because by the end of January, it's already going to kind of be back to the same rush, to the same, it's going to be back to that same schedule or structure that you've had for a long time. And if it's a great structure, it's a great structure. But if it's not a great structure, it's going to come back, okay, unless you make the adjustments in the first 3 weeks. So what does this look like in practice in a more mundane way? So like knowing at this point in time whether your current job is right for you or not, knowing whether your current habits and addictions, or we'll call them habits. Habits and addictions are different things and have different meanings, but we'll look into both of them. Knowing whether your current habits are right or wrong for you, and then also knowing whether you have addictions right now or not, and what that means for like the next 30 years of your life to like have an addiction, to like anything, coffee at the more kind of, seemingly less harmless end. And then we have some really big problems with addiction for people coming up in 2022 with Jupiter and Neptune conjunct in Pisces. And that could easily like just kind of come in for you if you're being hapless or haphazard with what you're putting into your body right now. So if I were a Taurus, I would take a completely anti-substance hard line in my life just to avoid becoming a casualty of one of those, regimes, okay, of like substance. I don't care if this video gets demonetized or not. It's important to say. These things are going to be really unforgiving by 23 and 24. 2022, it feels like fun. It feels like, ooh, wow, I'm having a good time. I'm like living my life. And then 23 and 24, I mean, there could be like imprisonment. There could be death. There could be like really harsh stuff by losing control of an addiction during this year. So this is a hard line, no, that I think a lot of Taurus have to take when it comes to that. And I mean, even to things that are like out of that full territory, like money spending habits, debt philosophy, like I can just spend it now. And then by 23 and 24, this can look like a complete, devotion to a certain job that you hate, just to like pay credit card bills or something. Like we have to wake up moving into January of 2022. Okay. We have to wake up. And we have to do what matters to us now. So let's get straight into your week to week, Taurus. This is beautiful for the Taurus who are ready to really step into purpose. Week number 1, you've got the sun rooted down by the 5 of Cups. So the sun rooted down by the 5 of Cups is like, thank God I know how I feel now. Thank God these emotions are hitting me now. Thank God I see this miserable tendency for what it is, like this addiction as a coping mechanism. Let me see that for what it is. The universe is going to be honest with you in the first week of January, okay? And that's beautiful to see. I think that you might finally heal from a trauma in the first week of January through honesty and through seeing this situation for what it is and seeing it for how it is. I also think that you have to simplify big time. So 5 of Cups to me can also be a complication card. Like all the 5s in the tarot to me make me think of making things too complicated, making things too layered, making things more than they have to be. Again, focusing on chaos rather than simplicity. So the sun's going to shine on that. If you're making your life a lot harder than it has to be, if you're asking yourself questions you don't have to ask, if you're like catastrophizing, okay, that's going to be really clear. But also if you're not, if you're letting go of that tendency, and if you're a Taurus who is like seeing things in their simple truth and making the structures in your life as simple and well refined as they can be, they're rewards. Okay. There are rewards, huge rewards for Taurus. I just love to see it. It makes me so happy. It sends happy chills through my entire body seeing this sign, getting these kinds of rewards if they can come to this simple place. Week number 2, Page of Wands, read down by Ace of Wands. Creative solutions, new hope in a business, in a relationship, in anything in your life, like a new hope in an old relationship, new hope in a new relationship, new hope of just like, wow, look at what I can do. Look at what I accomplished. I think some of you might be, I don't know, this is like the end of Capricorn season at that point in time. So maybe some of you are getting really good results on a tax return. Maybe some of you are getting a bonus for 2022. Maybe some of you are also, maybe people are requesting to hire you in a creative capacity. Maybe you are brainstorming with other creative entrepreneurs about starting a new creative business. This is all really wonderful. Page of Wands and Ace of Wands is like a Yahtzee. This is like, ooh, wow, windfall, 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 windfall. And even if you're one of the Taurus who are like, overcomplicating things, catastrophizing things, being like really hard done by things from like years and years and years ago, and like just being in an Eeyore place, okay, even if you're there, there's still going to be some type of reward, but it's going to be harsh. So here's the thing. When we get into this catastrophized place, when we get into this grudge holding place, when we get into this like emotional debt, what happens is that good things start to feel bad. Okay. So we get rewards. We question it. We doubt it. We don't think it's right for us. We make a business and we don't even know if we did it right. We like get a bonus from an employer and we don't even know. We doubt their intentions. We doubt their ethics. We doubt that it's real. We start to question and spin good things in a frightening way. And this is something that the collective is trying to heal in the year of 2022. Okay. And what is at the root of that? I'm trying to psychically understand. What is at the root of that is a game with the self. Okay. It's a game with the self. We're playing a game. We're like trying to like test ourselves. We're trying to get ourselves out of a certain like cycle by questioning things, by figuring stuff out ourselves, by knowing, by having a chain of questions, a chain of, meetings with professionals, a chain of like dialogues that question things, and then we kind of show ourselves that we're actually showing up, and then maybe we transcend out of that, previous place of catastrophizing. Pray to God that we do, because third week, the world read down by the Ace of Cups, beautiful. I mean, Taurus, this could be like one of the best 2-week gaps of your entire year of 2022 here. Such a grand opportunity to step into, right? I mean, look at the world and the Ace of Cups coming up the week that North Node moves into Taurus. That says to me that there's like, okay, you can just walk away. Like, you can be done. You can put in that notice. You can like, not for all of you. Okay. This depends. Like, I can't make a vast recommendation like that, but like, that's the energy there is like, you can feel free to hang up the keys on these non-purposeful things now, and you can feel free to just totally step into purpose. You might do well to not feel as if you have to give yourself permission to do that either. Like as if you're being a gatekeeper over your own happiness or a gatekeeper over your own life experience. Emotional relevance to a field, emotional relevance to an ending, emotional relevance to the inevitable oncoming of a new journey in the third week of January. How beautiful. So Aquarius season comes in and it's going to kind of reactivate the Saturn-Uranus squares. They're already dissipating, but you're going to get a major dose of Uranus, right? Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is in your sign. You're connected to the sign of Aquarius. Right now, Aquarius season starts in the third week of January. That means that you're probably going to want to innovate your structures. You might want to hire employees. You might want to restructure a business. You might want to, there's a complete question about the entirety of a structure that's been created. And this is interesting to see you sort out if you're in a sober place where you're not going to deconstruct things unnecessarily. Also, just more simply, it's great to have time at the sauna, at the spa. It's great to cry, to get all of this stuff out of you, okay? To purge these emotions so that you can truly walk away. It's emotionally recharging and rejuvenating for you in that week. So try to find healthy ways to do that. Week 4, we have a test, okay? A test in the 4th week of January. 8 of Swords rooted down by the 9 of Swords. Things are so perfect up until then, but this is how the universe works, right? Every time, after doing this for 5.5 years, tarot readings, when these great benevolent things shape up for us in our lives, they're always followed by a test. Because we don't have to have that. Like, you can write someone out a huge check And that doesn't mean that their life's going to get better. That doesn't mean that they're transcending financial problems or financial hardships. You can put someone in the best relationship. It doesn't mean that they're transcending traumatic, abusive relationships. Because people choose, right? People choose how they manage, how they move day to day. So I would say that we have a challenge about the day-to-day experiences. We have a challenge about like, okay, so you have a business, or now you have that good relationship, or now you have this, but like, can you make the small daily choices that upkeep it? And I think you can. Okay. I like this combination in this context because this is like, look at where you were and now look at where you are now. To me, this could be like recognition of a huge process of leveling up. And sometimes that puts us into those kind of existential questions and quandaries with the Nine of Swords, like, oh my God, can I come to reconciliation that I have made this transformation in my life? Also, for some, can I come to this reconciliation that I'm choosing not to? That I'm choosing not to get off the bridge, that I'm choosing not to get to point B, that I'm choosing not to get myself out of a destructive cycle. So for different Taurus, it's different places, but for all Taurus, it's the same answer. You've got to come to terms with where you are at that point and choose whether that's acceptable for you. Okay. It's like a dramatic silence, but I think it's not just you, but everybody's kind of here. But this is what I'm feeling for your sign. It's like, is this an acceptable way of living? Look around your space, look around yourself, like, because this is not a disempowering question. This is not like feeling bad, because we got 5 of Cups here in this reading. Like, this is not an invitation to be like, boo-hoo, I feel so bad, like I've messed up with my energy for so long. I've been so confused. I've spent so much time wasting time. I've spent so much time wasting my energy. I've spent so much time completely out of focus. So has everyone else. It's likely that everybody's going to feel this way to some degree in 2022. Like, oh my God, I totally didn't even realize that I have this complete open door here for me. And I have an invitation to step into purpose for free, for no cost. And a lot of people get into a weird Nine of Swords place with it. Like, why didn't I realize this sooner? How much time have I wasted? The key with this is to maybe spend a bit of time there, but like to not get derailed by this like question, because that's where a lot of people turn to like addictions. You know, that's where a lot of people turn to coping and compensation. Oh my God, I've messed up so much and I've spent so much time in the wrong territory. I can't face that. Let me now fill up all that wonderful empty space and destroy that new momentum by taking on a new habit of some kind, or I don't know, playing video games all day or something. It can be anything. It's not just what we think it is. But what you can also do, okay, and what we're going to be talking about in your extended reading today, is about when you know you want to get into purpose and when you know you want to step into that open door and actually start making some real, true, vital progress in your own experience. One way or another, Taurus, this is a make or break kind of month for you. This is a sink or swim time. This is a open invitation, okay, from the universe to like be in purpose. Again, the North Node is a weird place in astrology. It's a weird little body, a lunar point of the moon. North Node gives you purpose. North Node shows you what you might feel to be your destiny, what you might feel to be like the most high point of your potential. But it also shows a shadow with that, okay? It shows like, you know, what does it take to be ambitious? You know, is there corruption? Like, would you do whatever it takes to like get what you want type of thing? So whenever we have the North Node moving into our sign, we have to be cautious. And we have to really scrutinize and question even our own motives in what we're holding stake in. It doesn't mean that it's wrong, because I feel that North Node, I mean, my personal opinion is that North Node can be healthily integrated. But I also know that it comes with a lot of like viewpoints or ability to look into the shadow of our wants, our dreams, and our motives. And if there's a lot of shadow there, or if we don't realize it about ourselves, but we're like kind of trying to cope from a trauma, or trying to like, you know, become power hungry or too egotistical for just our own like haughty sake, for our own arrogance, it is harsh. It is kind of like, you know, it's creating situations where people can really lose themselves in a power game or in a conflict and have a lot of ego death as well can happen when North Node is in your sign. So it's like, if we can embrace a great ethical, integrity based approach to our own purpose, it's wonderful. But we've got to know when that reaches its limit also, and when we're fooling ourselves about being in that position too. So it's not about the branding of integrity. It's not about the branding of authenticity, because people try really hard to capitalize on that branding. And I can usually tell you that when people are claiming to be authentic, claiming to be integrity based, that some people can do that. Some people do that from an integrity based place, but most people don't. Most people don't. And one way or another, you as a Taurus have to really, I think, find what your best attributes are and allow them to really flower instead of some of the more shadowy ones, and prepare to really overcome a lot this month. But anyway, Taurus, yes, I'm going to talk more about stepping into this purpose, and we'll talk a little bit more about North Node in your sign and moving into this new year in your extended reading on Patreon. Be sure to check it out. I'll link it below and in the center of your screen right now. And I'm so excited to continue this chat over on Patreon. It was a long reading today here on YouTube, but that's okay. I'm so happy to talk in extra time for you, Taurus, this month, because North Node is about to hit you. So it's very, very empowering one way or another. So I will talk to you more about this on Patreon. Check it out. It's linked below in this interview screen once more. And yes, I hope you have a wonderful month ahead. Much love, Taurus. Bye.